I'm imagining her emotions. I'm having a hard time feeling what that person was feeling because I'm not her anymore. It's like a traumatic event. You forget once it's happened. It's almost like a dissociation. It's easier to remember if I take you back to the start, when trust was something I took for granted before I was betrayed. In my early 20s, I went through depression. I didn't feel like living anymore. I didn't want to kill myself, although I often thought about suicide, because actually I was too coward. I was afraid that it was gonna hurt. I just went numb and stayed in that state for a couple of months. Eventually, I got treatment and I managed to get out of depression. Life was starting again. I was back in London, I was seeing friends. It was really good. Up to a point where I felt like I just needed to do more, to see more, to be everywhere at the same time.
Excuse me.
Hi. Hi. Just wanted to make sure that your hair was not greasy, but good news, it's not. It's just really wet, right?
I really felt like I had so much energy and the world was too small. I needed to explore other things, other places. I went to Italy and I shoplifted there.
Anne, you're gonna pay for that, right?
Amar, what do you think rice is made of?
I had an idea in my head, I just went for it.
It's a good idea because
Anne, what are you on about?
I also shoplifted in London. I just wanted to see if I could do it. So I went to Berlin, partied a lot there. The first time I took MDMA actually was in Berlin.
I felt it in my brain.
It was fucking great.
You're there with the music
Like,
ticketing,
corresponding to the way I felt, like this nice buzz, quite fast,
bright,
colorful, just wonderful and lovely to look at. It just everything was better.
so it's just like rice.
The way I felt in that club, actually, I felt it most of the time. I loved it. My friends hated it. And my boyfriend sent me a text saying, "We need to talk." So that's the classic thing where you're like, oh shit. I'm sad now because it didn't. It could have been such a simple thing, and I think what happened after made it a crazy story.
I don't know how to say this, Anne, but I feel like I can't do this anymore.
Can't do what?
With this, not us.
He just told me, I think this
I
is
think it's
becoming a bit too much. So I decided to tell him I was pregnant.
Unequivocal. Why are you just staring at me like that?
Oh, you're not pregnant.
No, but I am. You see, look, with the two lines, that means... What? You don't believe me? You want me to do another test? I'll pee and I'll show you, I promise. Look, see, two lines. Putain.
I'm a police officer. Mami, you're hurt.
Reality actually caught back, and I was like, shit, okay, maybe I should
Do
leave.
you mind if I come closer?
And I just left. I don't know how I got home. I can't remember any of it.
Do you remember any of the messages you sent your boyfriend that week?
No. I probably did send him, I don't know, what did I tell him? Like, I lost a baby. I said that I wanted to kill myself and kill the baby or something. Maybe I wanted to, did I say I wanted to kill myself?
Yeah. I was abroad at the time, which made it really hard to understand fully what was going on. I got calls from our friends, and I started hearing all of these stories. She faked a pregnancy. She pretended to have a miscarriage. She said she had a knife to her belly. That you threatened to kill yourself. And they called an ambulance.
But I really remember I never wanted to kill
I
myself.
know, and the ambulance came
Yeah.
and they asked you, do you want to kill yourself? And you said no.
Yeah.
And then they left again. And I thought, something is really, really wrong with my friend. I called your dad, and not much later, you were on your way to Paris.
Oh! Laissez-moi sortir! C'est quoi ce bordel? Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Laissez-moi sortir! Papa! Maman!
Venez avec nous maintenant, s'il vous plaît. Quoi?
De quoi vous parlez? Je rentre chez moi.
Vous devez venir avec moi maintenant, s'il vous plaît. Le docteur vous expliquera par la
Non,
suite.
je ne bougerai pas. Maman? Papa? Solène?
Il
Mathilde?
va falloir coopérer.
My parents love me very much, and I've always felt love. I was wondering why my parents would do this. Hospitalize me. I felt betrayed. They broke my trust. I was put on some drugs to calm me down, I think. We weren't allowed to wear clothes. We weren't allowed to wear clothes. We were in our pajamas all day. Like, how useful is it? That's humiliating. It's infantilizing. I was just living in there, not knowing when I was going to come out. It was a complete restriction of any freedom. I wasn't allowed to go out on my own. My parents took me out every day, but being out was even worse because you had to come back. After 2 weeks, I remember being called to the doctor's office.
Blah, 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 blah.
And then I just hear, so we think you might be...
Trouble bipolaire. Bipolaire.
And I completely flip. Vous pouvez pas faire ça, you can't do this.
Non, mais c'est pas vrai. Pas un autre diagnostic. Pas un autre diagnostic.
Non, tu peux pas me dire ça, tu peux pas me dire ça.
Bipolaire, c'est pour les gens fous. C'est pour les fous.
Je comprends que ça puisse paraître beaucoup pour vous. Essayez de rester calme
What?
et laissez-moi vous dire davantage.
Le trouble bipolaire connu précédemment sous le nom de trouble.
I was feeling very...
Non.
Yeah, it made me really angry.
But how is bipolar different to...
Bipolar was different from depression because it's the crazy kind. That's what I thought at the time. The average person, because they don't understand, they think the same. I felt such a strong stigma towards this illness, and I felt so much shame. I don't even know what it meant. I have no idea. I had only sensationalist popular representations like we see on TV. It didn't make sense to me. It didn't. So when I got out of that hospital, I was told I was going to be on medication for my whole life. The hospitalization didn't stop the mania. It just allowed for a diagnosis. From the point on that you have that diagnosis, you have that label, no one will look at you the same way. I was characterized as the crazy one, the stalker. So it wasn't easy to rebuild after that. Two years down the line, I was with a woman. We met and just fell in love. It was a great relationship. I was doing so well, so I thought I didn't need to take the medication anymore. I stopped taking them without telling anyone. I slowly, without realizing, have manic symptoms that take over. One of the symptoms for this episode was hypersexuality. I hadn't had this symptom before. I was on all these apps and met a lot of only guys actually. I didn't want anyone to restrict me, testing boundaries, testing limits, messaging multiple people at the same time. I cheated on my partner, had sex with a lot of different people. Lied so much. It was unsafe. There's one particular evening where I went to this guy's place, and I think we started initiating something, but I wasn't very much into it. I was like, okay, well, maybe let's leave it at that. I said stop. I said no, and he continued. He raped me. Yeah. But I didn't talk about it until a year ago to you.
Why not?
Because I felt guilty. Because I was cheating on my partner. Why were you hypersexual? Why did I go to his... I went to his place, so it's definitely, my fault.
Have you struggled with trusting yourself?
Yes, I don't trust myself because it's a complete lack of control in those episodes. And that's what's very hard to deal with. I can't predict anything. Because in a state of mania, it's the hardest thing to tell someone, I don't know, you're not really yourself when the other person feels great. I feel great when I'm in a manic state, and I don't realize how harmful it can become. So bipolar, as the name, I think it's misleading. I prefer to call it manic depression because you have those two sides of the illness, but the two sides doesn't mean that you swing from one to another. It's one chasing the other constantly, and I'm there in the middle, like, ooh. I can't speak for everyone, but for me, this is what living with bipolar feels like.
Well, I've been stable for a few years now, being active in my own treatment, with medication, therapy, physical health, checking in with myself and my support network. But I know there's always a chance I can have another episode.
If I had the choice to get rid of my illness, I wouldn't. I think it's completely shaped my life. I feel comfortable with it now, and it defines me even if it doesn't own me.
So why are we making this film?
Because this story is not just about me. This illness has affected my friends, my family, and they're the ones who helped me reconstruct.
There's a story I hold on to from just after I left the hospital. I was still manic. That summer, a very good friend of mine who's a doctor essentially babysitted me. She told me, you were different, you were completely different to the Anne I knew. But there was one day we went sailing together. You were being a bit silly. But when you started steering the catamaran, you were completely in control. And in that brief moment, she said, all of a sudden, you were yourself again. Or the person I knew. So that was nice hearing. Because it means even during those episodes, I'm still there. I'm still me.
The process of making this film has allowed me to let go of my shame and reconcile the younger version of myself with who I am now.